Hi, welcome to Willis & Willis Interior Design. I'm Tammy Willis, and I'm the founder and principal of the design studio here. The studio is about 5 years old, and I've been in the business 20 years, and I've had fun doing everything from model homes to high-end multi-million-dollar homes. So this is where the magic starts and ends in your home when we install all the beautiful things we've selected. This particular channel is going to be devoted to interior design and, really interior design my way. Although we will invite interior designers from around the region and special woodworkers, contractors. We're all going to have fun telling you really what we do. Interior designing is not a mystery, but it sure is filled with details. I remember the first day at school, design school, when we were told that if we were in there to have fun, it was all wrong, because interior design is 10% inspiration and 90% paperwork. And I thought, oh, that's kind of funny, but it's true. Everything is detailed and everything has to be written down so that your vision and the designer's vision is actually what is executed. So on this channel, we're going to have fun. We're going to be giving you tips. We're going to be telling you stories, interviewing lots of fun people, and it'll be something worthwhile for you to spend an afternoon watching. All right, so first episode, we're going to talk a little bit about paint. Paint is the least expensive makeover you can do for your home. I think we all know that. There's been enough of that on HGTV and DIY, but honestly, it really is the fastest and best way to come to terms with a makeover, fast makeover. Colors. I have clients who just love color. Before I started this business, I was an artist, a fine artist, and so color comes naturally to me. Love color, and I love using it. And when I find a client who likes to use the color, I want to make sure that they have fun with color. Now, if they are going to a big box store just to pick up a few colors to kind of show what they would like, I know that many of my clients just get overwhelmed by the eye candy in the paint aisle. 10,000 colors. And it's amazing how it can scare clients to the point where at the end of the half hour of staring at colors, they end up on the beige side of things because it's safe, it's comfortable. What I do is I help you really make sure whether that's beige that you want or if you're just too afraid to select your color. Interior designers are great editors. And by the way, having an interior designer isn't the most expensive thing you'll spend money on this year. I promise you, there are designers from coast to coast who will charge anywhere from $75 an hour to $150 an hour. I myself am on the higher end. But what I charge you is going to cost you less if you listen to what I'm helping you do, as opposed to you doing it yourself and having to repaint. Oh, that's not fun. So designers can help you edit, and they do that in a variety of ways. We have lots of tools. Some of us actually have saws, hammers, and nails, but this time I'm just going to show you some of the tools in my office. And they're in the office today because we're talking about it, but generally they're in the back of my car, so I can help clients make those changes pretty quickly. So this is a Benjamin Moore deck, fan deck. They have lots of them. That's just one. Sherwin-Williams, another one of my favorite companies with whom I work, and Dunn-Edwards. Dunn-Edwards has a great selection of colors, and so we have the fan decks. And then we have, as well as the fan decks, we have books of color up here so that we can help you determine from just a color chip what a little bit bigger piece looks like when you're playing with it. You go from some of these things, and then you can go to these things. What this is a color sheet from Sherwin-Williams. It's about an 8.5 by 11. Designers have accounts with all of the paint companies, and we can order these for you. Generally, I order about 5 of these so we can get them on the wall and you can see what you're doing. This is one from Benjamin Moore. I usually order 8 of these so that we can put them on the wall to see what's going on. And then this is a drawdown from Dunn-Edwards, which is real paint, by the way, so you can see how the real paint goes on. I order about 5 or 6 per client from one of these. Now you have to understand one of the reasons we want these is because it's difficult to understand how that paint is going to look in your room. For instance, if you have a north-facing room, it's going to look a little different than if you have this color in a south-facing room. So you want to have that color around for a while to see what it looks like in that room. It's also going to change the way it looks morning, noon, and night. You're going to want to see if you like that during the morning or if that color is just not quite what you want when you get up in the morning to have your cereal. So we have that, and then we have the idea that, okay, we've selected our color. What finish is it? Do we want gloss, high gloss, semi-gloss, satin, eggshell, flat, matte? My favorite to actually specify for clients is matte. And matte looks a little like flat, but it's very, very durable. And all of the paint companies have that available for selection. So when you're working with your designer, talk a lot about the finishes because that will also make sure how things are going to look. The glossier a room is, the more you can see the flaws in the room. So matte's great. Matte is especially good when you have grandchildren or children who are active and are looking to color on the walls. I remember a story, well, it happened to me personally. My daughter and her husband had just bought their first home and had gotten the keys, and immediately we went into the house to paint. I'd given them paint for a home or housewarming present. And while we were getting situated and getting the paint in the rooms that we needed to get the paint in and getting down all the drop cloths, my 3-year-old grandson came running in and said, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy, look what I did." And into the family room we went, and there on the wall, the home that they had just purchased 20 minutes ago, on the wall was a perfect blue P. Ian knew his letters. Thankfully, we had bought a paint that covered up that P, and the story is a lot funnier now than it was at the moment. But you want to find a paint color that really does cover well. That happened to be a Sherwin-Williams color, and it was great. I mean, that house underwent a lot of transformations with the colors, and it was fun to see how it worked with that family. They loved the color brown because they knew that they had 2 boys, and 2 boys who would love dirt. And dirt they love. There was no question about that. All right, so you want to have a designer who can help you edit your colors. You want to have a designer who will help advocate for you as well. And let me tell you a story about that. I had a client, loved her, absolutely was a dream client, loved working with her. And she wanted a very happy laundry room. And so we thought one of the happiest things we could do was paint that room yellow. A pretty saturated yellow. It was a Benjamin Moore. It was this yellow right here. I don't know if you can see it, but we'll hold it closer to the camera. So yellow. And I asked the contractor to make sure that the painter would paint a 4x4 foot swatch on the wall so that we could confirm that was the yellow we wanted. And so the following day we showed up at the house, she and I, and noticed that not only was there a 4x4 patch on the wall, the whole room was painted. And it wasn't painted the correct color. That sort of surprised us as well. So we asked the contractor, what happened? And he said, well, the painter wasn't sure you girls were going to like that yellow color. It was a little bright. And we thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe we should have been consulted. But looking at the wall, we took the deck and we found it was just a little bit lighter. And so we agreed that it was acceptable. Lucky for the painter, otherwise he would have had to paint it over again. I wasn't real happy with the contractor, and I took him aside and said, this is probably not something we want to do down the road. It's always nice to consult the designer if there are any questions, and since then he's been a dream to work with. So I think you have to have a designer who's willing to advocate because the contractor might get a little upset. Better that he's upset with the designer than he is with you, the client. And then if you're doing a DIY, some of the things that we really want to emphasize is looking at large pieces. If you don't have a contractor who's willing to paint a 4x4 patch on your wall, or you are doing it yourself, you are the paint contractor, then it's good to take some poster board that you can find at any craft store and paint the color you're looking to use on the walls. Now this happens especially when the wall is already painted a color. If the wall is white, you can paint it on the wall and take a look. And really what's wonderful about samples these days, this is a Valspar sample from the Blue Big Box store, and this is a Sherwin-Williams sample. I think they all have little samples now that you can paint at least a 2x2 patch on your wall to take a look at. But you want to do that so that you can see how it works and how it looks at night. Incandescent bulbs, CFL bulbs, and LED bulbs all color the walls differently. I like to use LED daylight bulbs so that you can really see the true color. But nevertheless, whatever it is, you want to see what it looks like at night under lighting that you have available in your own home. So you've got this going, and you want to make sure that you're using and masking off with tape, whether you use the blue tape or the green tape, it doesn't really matter. Make sure that you spend some time doing that. Be very careful, because if you don't, tape a straight line, you're not going to paint a straight line, and straight lines are really what you want. And so wiggly doesn't work, straight's fantastic. So use that. Make sure when you take it off that you take it off slowly and carefully, because if you take it off too fast, sometimes you can take the paint with it. So you don't want to do that. All right, so now you've let the paint dry, you've taken off the tape, and all you have to do is the cleanup. What are we going to do with color? This particular color is called Aquasphere by Sherwin-Williams. And in the succeeding episodes, we're going to see how Aquasphere colors a kitchen for a client who's looking for a new kitchen. It's a nice color, works well with dark colors, works well with white, but we're going to see really how we can work with it. So that's pretty much it for our first episode. I hope you enjoyed what we had to say today, and I hope you come back. Hope you make comments, and if you have questions, please let me know. I'll answer your questions as well. So, signing off, this is Tammy Willis, your designer in the desert.